You were told to fix yourself, to become someone better, to heal, to grow, to evolve. And maybe then, peace would finally arrive. But tonight, I want you to consider a softer possibility. What if that whole chase was the problem? What if peace is not something you earn, but something you remember? What if you were never broken, just tired, just busy, just carrying too much noise in your mind? And if that's true, then the way home is not forward, it's inward. So let your body get comfortable. Not perfect, just comfortable enough. Let your jaw loosen. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your eyes become heavy. Because there's a strange secret most people don't notice until the night gets quiet, even when life is fine on the outside. The mind can still run like it's being chased. And it doesn't run because you're weak. It runs because it learned to survive by staying alert. It runs because somewhere a part of you believes, if I stop thinking, something will go wrong. If I stop improving, I'll fall behind. If I stop striving, I'll become nothing. And that fear keeps you awake. Not the room, not the bed, not the time, the fear. But here's the prediction gap I want you to sit with. What if the mind doesn't need more control? What if it needs permission to stop? What if the deepest calm isn't created by effort, but uncovered by release? Just stay with that. Don't solve it. Let it hover like a lantern in fog. Because tonight is not about fixing yourself. It's about meeting yourself. And the first place we meet is a room inside you. A room that does not move when the world shakes. A room that doesn't close when people leave. A room that never demands, never judges, never rushes you. Most people forget this room exists because they live outside themselves. They live in timelines, in regrets, in rehearsed conversations, in imagined futures. They live in the mind's constant voice. Next, next, next. But peace doesn't live in next. Peace lives in now. And there's a kind of tranquility Buddhism points to quietly, gently, that isn't a mood. It's deeper than mood. It's the calm beneath the waves, like the ocean floor. Even when the surface is loud, you don't have to fight the waves. You don't have to block them. You just have to remember there is depth. So for a few breaths, do something simple. Notice the inhale. Notice the exhale. No performance. No doing it right. Just noticing. And if your thoughts interrupt, good. That means your mind is working exactly like a mind. Let it interrupt. Then come back. like you're returning a small child to bed, gently, again and again. There's a reason this works. Because your mind is like water. When you keep stirring it, fixing, analyzing, judging, the water stays cloudy. But if you set the glass down, the mud settles. Not because you forced it, because you stopped disturbing it. That's the first lesson tonight. You do not need to win against your thoughts. You just need to stop feeding them. And the moment you stop feeding them, something changes. Not dramatically, not like a movie, more like a sigh you didn't realize you were holding. Now, here comes the next quiet doorway. Even if you find that inner room, even if you feel a little calm, there's often a second war still happening. Not a war with the world, a war with the mirror. Not just the physical mirror, the mental one, the image you carry of who you are supposed to be. It's subtle. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just whispers not enough. And it can whisper that even on your best day, you can be loved and still feel unlovable. You can be successful and still feel behind. You can be surrounded and still feel alone. Because the judge isn't outside, it's inside. So let's touch something radical. In Buddhism, there's a teaching that dissolves the courtroom. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't insult you. It simply reveals something freeing. The self you're judging isn't a fixed thing. You are not a statue. You are a process, a river, a moving pattern of sensations, thoughts, memories, moods, changing, always changing. But the mind wants to freeze you into one image so it can label you, control you, punish you, or protect you. Yet the truth is, you can't hate a river for not staying still. You can't demand a flame hold the same shape. So why do we demand that from ourselves? Tonight, soften your grip on the idea of me, not in a scary way, in a relieving way. You don't have to delete your personality. You don't have to erase your story. Just stop clinging to it like it's the whole truth. Because a story is a tool, not a home. And when you stop clinging, the critic loses its target. There's less to defend, less to prove, less to fix. Here's a small practice you can do without moving. When a thought arises, like I am anxious, try a gentler, truer sentence. Anxiety is here. That's all. Not, I am broken. Just, this feeling is present. You're not denying the emotion. You're removing the handcuffs. You're letting it be weather, not identity. Because the sky does not become the storm. It holds the storm, then remains, and you are that sky. You might not believe that yet. That's okay. You don't need belief tonight. You only need a tiny glimpse, and glimpses become pathways. Now, as you settle into that space, another layer often appears. The past, not the whole past, just one moment, a word you regret, a choice you wish you could undo, a version of you don't like remembering. The mind plays it like a loop, as if replaying it will change it, as if punishing yourself will rewrite time. But it never does. It just keeps you awake. And this is where a different force enters. Not discipline, not motivation. Compassion. Not the soft kind that excuses everything. The real kind. The kind that tells the truth without building a cage. In Buddhism, compassion is not weakness. It's medicine. It says, yes, that happened. And yes, it hurt. And yes, you learned. And you don't have to keep bleeding to prove you're sorry. Because some people confuse humility with lifelong punishment. But that's not humility. That's self-hate wearing a polite mask. True humility says, I was wrong and I'm learning. False humility says, I was wrong and I must suffer forever. So tonight, try this. Picture your younger self, not as a villain, as a human with less awareness than you have now, a human trying to belong, trying to feel safe, trying to survive something they didn't know how to hold. You don't have to excuse it, but you can understand it, and understanding loosens the knot. Here's a line you can whisper inside. You didn't know then what you know now. Let that be enough, not as a final answer, as a soft beginning. And if guilt rises again, don't wrestle it. Sit beside it, like you would sit beside someone crying. No lecture, no fixing, just presence. Because presence is the deepest apology. Now we move into a story, a very small one. A monk carried a bowl with a thin crack down the side. He thought about replacing it for years. It leaked a little. It didn't look perfect. It didn't match the other bowls. Then one morning, he set it by the window, and the light came through the crack, not in a sad way, in a beautiful way. The whole bowl shimmered, like the crack was a doorway for sunrise, and suddenly he understood. The crack wasn't the enemy. The crack was evidence of being used, of serving, of living. This is where so many people miss peace. They think peace requires perfection, but perfection is the enemy of rest. Because perfection makes you flinch at being human. It makes you hide your cracks, and hiding costs energy. So tonight, let your cracks breathe. Let your imperfections be real, not as a brand, not as a dramatic confession, just as truth. Because the strongest people are rarely the most polished. They're the most real. They've been through weather, and they still show up. And here's the twist. The mind can turn even healing into another performance. It can take beautiful practices and turn them into pressure. It whispers, you should be more mindful. You should be more calm. You should be past this by now. So the chase returns, just dressed in spiritual clothes. This is the trap, not the trap of being bad, the trap of always becoming, of always needing a future version of you to finally be worthy of peace. But what if peace is not the reward at the end? What if peace is the ground you can stand on right now? The Buddha's path is often called the middle way, not extreme indulgence, not extreme punishment, not obsession, not avoidance. A softer balance. And that balance applies to self-improvement too. Because if you turn your inner life into a project, you never get to live in it. You become a manager of yourself, a critic of yourself, a worker assigned to fix the you that never seems finished. And you get exhausted. So tonight, try one radical sentence. I don't have to be finished to rest. Let your body hear that. Let your chest hear that. Let your nervous system hear that. Because so much insomnia is the body waiting for permission. Permission to stop scanning. Permission to stop proving. Permission to stop becoming. Now let's enter something even quieter. Silence. Not the silence of emptiness, the silence of safety. There is a kind of silence that heals old parts of you that words can't reach. The part of you that was hurt before it had language. The part of you that learned to cope by bracing. The part of you that still lives in tension, in tight shoulders, in a jaw that clenches without noticing. Silence doesn't argue with that part. Silence stays. And staying is what builds trust. So, for a few breaths, practice noble silence. Not no sound, no commentary. If the mind narrates, label it softly. Thinking, then return. If the mind judges, label it softly. Judging, then return. If the mind plans, label it softly. Planning, then return. No fight, no shame, just a gentle name and a gentle return. This breaks the trance because the narrator is not you. It's a habit, a script machine. It writes stories to feel in control, but you don't have to obey the script. You can watch it. And when you watch it, it loses its throne. Now, something subtle happens when you stop obeying the narrator. Space appears. And in that space, the mind might get nervous because the mind is used to noise. Noise feels like control. Silence feels like not knowing, and not knowing can feel scary. So the mind reaches again for meaning, for purpose, for a final answer. Why am I here? What is this all for? But here is a surprising Buddhist freedom. Life does not need to justify itself to be worth living. A breeze doesn't need a purpose. A tree doesn't need a reason. A breath doesn't need an achievement. They are, and that is enough. In Zen, there's a simple idea, suchness, the isness of things. Before you label, before you interpret, before you turn every emotion into a lesson. Sometimes a tear is just a tear. Sometimes tired is just tired. Sometimes a quiet night is not a sign. It's just a quiet night. And when you stop forcing everything to mean something, pressure falls off your shoulders. You stop carrying a cosmic report card. You stop trying to make pain profound. You stop trying to turn every moment into proof. You get to live. Not as a project, as a presence. Now we return to moods, because moods can still arrive. Even after all of this, a fog can roll in, a wave of sadness, a little anxiety in the chest, and the mind says, "See, you lost your peace." But maybe peace was never lost. Maybe you just mistook weather for sky. So, treat emotions like weather, not enemies, not verdicts, visitors. Let them pass through. You don't have to chase them out. You don't have to invite them to move in. Just watch. And if the mind begins to ruminate, replay, rewind, rehearse, notice that too. Rumination feels like problem solving, but it's often just scratching a wound. So when you catch yourself looping, try this phrase, not today, not as a denial, as a boundary. You can think about that later in the daylight with more strength. But in this moment, you can choose rest. Return to the breath. Return to the weight of your body. Return to the room you're in. Return to the fact that right now, you are here, and here is okay. Maybe not perfect, but okay. And okay is a doorway. Now for a gentle practice. Imagine an empty chair across from you. In that chair place, you're suffering. Not the whole story, just the feeling. The ache, the fear, the grief. Let it sit there and speak to it, not like an enemy, like a child who has been alone. Say something simple. I see you. I'm here. You don't have to hold this by yourself anymore. You might feel emotion rise. Let it. This is not weakness. This is the body unfreezing. This is the nervous system trusting. You don't have to fix what's in the chair. You only have to be present with it, and that presence changes things. Because pain heals through relationship, not avoidance, not obsession. Relationship. Now, let's name the deepest trap in a single breath. The craving to become. The craving to become better, calmer, stronger, wiser, so you can finally rest. That craving sounds noble, but it hides a belief I am not enough yet. So listen carefully. If you take nothing else from tonight, take this. You are allowed to rest before you are ready. You are allowed to feel peace before your life is perfect. You are allowed to be whole in the middle of being human. And here is the light twist. The moment you stop chasing peace, it starts to appear. Not because you earned it, because you stopped blocking it, not because your thoughts became silent, because you stopped arguing with them, not because your past disappeared, because you stopped punishing yourself for it, not because you became someone else, because you finally returned to the one who's been here the whole time. The awareness, the quiet witness, the sky, and when you rest as that, something happens. The inner courtroom empties. The judge sets down the gavel. The prosecutor stops speaking. The defendant stops defending. Because no one is on trial anymore. You don't need to be innocent to deserve peace. You don't need to win an argument with yourself. You can leave the courtroom and step into air, into breath, into the simple truth of this moment. So now, as sleep comes closer, let the teachings melt into the background, not as ideas, as anchors, a quiet room inside you, a softer grip on identity, compassion for the past, a crack that lets light in, a middle way that doesn't demand perfection, silence that holds, thoughts as weather, stories as stories, and the permission to stop becoming, to rest, just rest. If your mind drifts, it's okay. If your thoughts return, it's okay. If you don't feel calm yet, it's okay. Tonight is not about doing it right. It's about coming home. And here's the open ending I want to leave you with. What if this home you're finding tonight is not something you visit only at bedtime? What if tomorrow, in the middle of a normal moment, a traffic light, a cup of tea, a quiet pause, you suddenly remember this room again, just for one breath, just for two. And what if that's how peace grows? Not as a one-time arrival, but as a rhythm, a returning over and over, until one day you don't feel like you're returning. You feel like you're living there, in the quiet, in the now, in the soft, steady truth that you were never broken, only called away from yourself. And now you can let yourself drift, slowly, gently, back into the room that never rushes, back into the breath that never asks you to be perfect, back into sleep. And somewhere beneath the dreams, the stillness will keep watching, holding you like sky, like home.